You know that trending purple Starbucks drink that's suddenly showing up all over social media? The one people are calling the next matcha. For a lot of people, this bright purple drink feels brand new. A colorful trend that appeared almost overnight, but for Filipinos, there is something strange about watching the world discover it. Because long before it became a cafe drink, long before it appeared in international coffee chains, and long before influencers started posting photos of it online, ube was already sitting on Filipino tables. It was being turned into jams, cakes, ice cream, pastries, and family desserts. Farmers were growing it, vendors were selling it, grandparents were cooking with it. And now, as demand explodes around the world, the Philippines is facing an unexpected problem. The ingredient becoming famous overseas is becoming harder to supply at home. So what exactly is ube? Where did it come from? How did a humble Filipino root crop become one of the world's most mainstream food trends? Let's find out, right here, on History of Simple Things. Ube is a yam, scientifically called Dioscorea alata. It is not taro, and it is not the purple sweet potato people often confuse it with. Ube has brown skin and flesh that can be lavender to deep violet. Its flavor is mild and sweet with nutty, creamy, vanilla-like notes. In Filipino cooking, that gentle flavor matters as much as the color. The color may grab attention first, but Filipinos did not start loving ube because it looked nice on a camera. They loved it because it was useful, tasty, and familiar. That is why many Filipinos get annoyed when ube is treated like a random purple flavor. The taste, the crop, and the name come from a real place and a real history, not from a company trying to invent the next drink. Ube has been part of Philippine food culture for a very long time. Phil Rootcrop says yam species have been used in the Philippines for thousands of years. It also notes that food historian Feliz Prudente Santamaria found ube in the first Tagalog Spanish dictionary published in 1613. That tells us it was already known well enough to be named in writing hundreds of years ago. In Bohol, a famous variety called Kinam pie became so important that it entered local identity, local festivals, and even the local hymn. In hard years, crops like ube helped communities get through drought and food shortages, which is one reason the root still carries emotional weight today. The classic form of ube in Filipino sweets is halaya, also called ubeng halaya. The method is simple but not quick. Fresh ube is peeled, cut, then boiled or steamed until soft enough to mash. After that, it is cooked slowly with sugar, butter, and milk, often coconut milk, evaporated milk, or condensed milk until it turns thick and glossy. That jam becomes the base for many other desserts, from cakes and pastries to ice cream and halo-halo. Modern cafes use the same flavor in a different format. Instead of starting with a whole yam, many shops now use ubeng halaya puree powder or flavor extract, then mix it with milk, espresso, tea, or cold foam. In 2026, major chains such as Starbucks launched ube drinks in the United States, and food writers started calling ube the next matcha. The comparison is not random. Like matcha, ube works in hot and cold drinks, looks striking on social media, and can be turned into powders, extracts, and sweet cafe mixes. But there is one big difference. Matcha is a tea. Ube is a crop, and crops depend on land, weather, labor, and timing. When demand jumps fast, the strain does not begin at the counter. It begins on the farm. And that is the uncomfortable part of this story. Phil Rootcrop says ube is still often grown in small patches, mostly in places like central Visayas. and that it is expensive to produce and often short in supply. Recent reporting says output has dropped far below the roughly 30,000 metric tons recorded in 2006. Farmers deal with seasonal supply, labor-heavy work, pests, disease, and a shortage of good planting materials. At the same time, agricultural spending has usually focused more on staples like rice and corn. Business World reported in May 2026 that experts saw the government as not yet ready for the expected demand surge, with agencies still working in silos. So yes, the trend is real, but support has lagged behind the hype. The result is a strange reversal. Recent reports say the Philippines has been importing raw ube from Vietnam just to meet local dessert and processing demand. That is the irony sitting under the purple foam. The country most strongly linked with ube is buying ube from abroad because local production cannot keep up. Farmers, meanwhile, often get only a small share of the final selling price, so the purple drink may look playful online, but the market behind it is tight, uneven, and stressful. One name that captures ube's deeper place in Filipino culture is Good Shepherd in Baguio City. The Good Shepherd sisters began making jam in the 1950s to help support the children in their care. In the 1970s, they turned to ube because they needed something less seasonal than strawberries for a flagship product. Their ube jam became one of the country's best-known pasulubong items. Buying it does more than buy a sweet spread. Inquirer reporting says those products have helped send poor students, especially young women, to college for decades, while also giving working students and other local workers a source of income. So if you want a jar with real history behind it, Good Shepherd is one of the clearest examples. So what exactly is ube? It is a yam. It is a Filipino ingredient with a long memory. It is a crop that became halaya, then ice cream, then cafe syrup, then a purple drink the world suddenly noticed. But if we only see the trend, we miss the point. Ube is not famous because it is purple. It is famous because generations of Filipinos kept growing it, cooking it, and making meaning around it. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.